Yep.
All right, so the last 2 years you've gone to these events and you've not really been the favorite. You've kind of announced your presence at these things. Now that you're kind of going into it with some real expectations externally, how does that change things at all when you go into a field like this?
Not at all. Obviously this is a great field, just like those fields there, and just trying to lock into that first game. I think that's what everybody kind of takes that approach, and it can be very difficult for us just because Gonzaga is such a good team, high-powered offense, a lot of weapons, a lot of different ways that they can beat you. So. When somebody is that good offensively, like trying to take everything away probably isn't the smartest thing in the world. But also not letting them steal baskets. They've gotten really good at getting some second chance opportunities through their defense and pushing the ball, but also by rebounding the basketball. They have really good size, but they have a great combination of skill, speed, playmakers, inside outside bigs. They can score on the block, they can score off the offensive glass, but they can make threes too, across the board. So it really puts you in a bind from a defensive standpoint, just because they have such a high skill level.
I know you're squarely focused on the first game, but this might be the greatest MTE field of all time. Just being part of this, how much do you find out about your team?
Well, I think through competition, you always are finding something out about your team, especially when you play on the road like we did at Arkansas, or you're going to play in an event like this on a neutral court. You're not playing in the comfort of your home arena. I think everybody kind of goes through that, and they kind of see college basketball is a lot different on the road. College basketball is a lot different when you're out in home.
Hey, splitting the defense between Paul and Terry, how is that? How's that working, and what's kind of the breakdown of responsibilities there?
Yeah, well, it's the same for both of them. They just, instead of Paul having every single game defensively, Brandon handles all the personnel for every game, tendencies. So he starts off every scouting report. PJ and Sasha handle the offensive piece of it, and then Paul and Terry just split the pieces of it. So I like it in a preparation standpoint. I don't want it to be different, even though they could have different opinions. I want the setup and how we go about it to be the same way, so our players have that consistency.
Is it helpful in a 3-game and 3-day sort of setting?
It definitely is helpful. It's still going to happen. What happens when you're by yourself, and we've had Jack Owens, Steve Lutz, Paul last year, to where you're getting every single one of them. It's the hardest on the defensive guy. There's no question about that. Now that we're splitting, and I think that'll help from a freshness standpoint throughout the year. And guys aren't moving as quick to the next game before you actually play the game.
Jakari Harris, can you give us your thoughts on him?
Yeah, very excited about getting him. Versatile player, a guy that can play multiple positions, guard multiple positions. I think that ability to handle the basketball and play off the ball is something that we need. But more than anything, he's somebody that can guard multiple people. So it holds back a lot of people who transition from high school to college because they're not used to defending. He comes from a winning program, very good high school coach. I've been to their practices, I've been to their games, I've been around their program. They do things the right way, they hold people accountable. So his transition to college, everyone has that, right? But he's been in like a college program already. So, that's what really jumps out to us, is that we think he's got a chance to be, ready from day one. And he's a good offensive player, but most of the times what holds you back from getting in there is your inability to understand what's going on defensively and your inability to guard different people. And he's great in both areas, but we're getting a two-way player that we recruited for a long time, and we're really excited.
6 for 6 on guys who can shoot.
There you go.
How big of an emphasis was that?
It's always an emphasis. I mean, sometimes you get off of it a little bit because you see some attributes that somebody has that leads to winning, and you think you can offset it. But it's always something that you're thinking about, that you want to be able to do. You want to be able to put as much skill into it as possible.
And you often have to get off of it to get the guy who wants to defend, and that's
Yeah.
might be where Jakari Harris's value lies, right?
Yeah, I think that's a separator. If you're a two-way player, that means you're a good offensive player, you're a good defensive player, and that piece of it. A lot of times, those good offensive players, you got to teach them how to defend and your rules and everything like that. And it's so foreign to them, it just takes a while. With him, we're hoping that he'll be able to adjust pretty quickly.
Matt, the last time I think you brought in 6 freshmen was Baby Boiler era. What's it just like for a program to bring that many new bodies in?
Yeah, well, it obviously presents itself, right? Because sometimes you have big classes, sometimes smaller classes. What can be difficult sometimes is when you need a big class and the year isn't very good. Like that's what it gets you, or vice versa. You have a great year and you have one scholarship, and you really like to have more scholarships because just from the quality of player in those classes, and I think that's important for us just to understand that, like, are all 6 guys going to be able to come in here and hit it from day one? I think that's unrealistic, but all 6 guys can have great careers. Everybody has their own career, everybody has their own story, but you don't rule out anything with those guys. They come in here, they start in June, they compete, and we've seen guys that we thought we were going to redshirt, and they've come in here and they've started for us. We've had guys come in and think they're going to start for us and they need to redshirt. It's just I know all of them are going to be good, but when are they going to be good? I think that's probably the more of a question for coaches across the country. You sign guys, you like guys. If you didn't like them, you wouldn't take them. And so I feel really good about our class because we checked all the boxes. But you're not going to get 6 guys, obviously, every class with 13 scholarship players.
Do you bring up